Should you always speak your native language with your kids? Hi there, language lovers. Today, I want to tell you about an article I found really intriguing and very relevant to multilingual parents who want their children to also speak more than one language. It's by Ute Limacher of Ute's International Lounge and Academy. I'll share a link to it in the comments. If this video is useful to you, you definitely want to read the full article. So in this article, Ute talks about something that parents in multilingual households may have never considered. The conventional wisdom is that each parent should speak their own native language to their child to help the child become bilingual. For example, let's say a native Spanish speaker and a native English speaker who live in Dallas, Texas, have a baby. For a lot of families, it will work really well for each parent to speak their own native language with the child, which is called OPAL, one parent, one language. We could even take this example a little further. Let's say one parent is a native Spanish speaker and the other a native French speaker. Their child grows up hearing French and Spanish at home and English at school, on playdates, on TV, etc. And hopefully, they grow up to speak all three languages. But as Ute's article reminds us, this won't work for every family. Before we talk about why this is the case, I want to share some language learning lingo with you. When I say L1 in the rest of this video, that refers to the first language a person acquires. And as the article explains, for many multilingual individuals, their L1 isn't necessarily the language in which they feel the most fluent or comfortable. We see this many times when someone immigrates as a child. For example, they come to the US from Mexico as a 6-year-old who effortlessly speaks Spanish. But over the years, they become fluent in English and speak Spanish less and less. As an adult, they are still able to get by in Spanish, but the language they feel really comfortable with is English. In other words, your native or L1 language isn't always the one you're most fluent in. In some multilingual families, the language situation can be even more complex than the examples I described. The article tells the story of a couple named Laura and David. They're a real family, but the author changed their names for the article. Here is how the author describes them. Laura, who grew up with Italian and German in Germany, learns French at age 6, English at age 11, and later Spanish, Portuguese, and Greek. After studying in Italy, she moved to Spain, where she works in a Spanish company. Her partner, David, is Portuguese and British, and they speak Italian, Spanish, English, and Portuguese together. They then moved to the Netherlands, where they both speak English every day at work and in the international community. Of course, they learn Dutch too. Now, if you're in the US, this situation might seem very unusual, but that's because learning multiple languages is still, unfortunately, very rare in this country. However, it is a lot more common in other countries. And I believe it's something we'll see more often here in the US as our society grows more and more global, and languages are more accessible to Americans. But back to Laura and David. While living in the Netherlands, they have a baby boy. So, what language should each parent speak with their new son? You might assume that Laura should speak Italian or German, and that David should speak English or Portuguese. That's already a complex situation. But now consider that both Laura and David have extensive experience with Spanish and feel very comfortable with it. Laura even calls it her favorite language. Mine too. Ute's article argues, and I agree, that this is a scenario where a parent's L1 is not automatically the best primary language to speak with their child in. Instead, think about using the language that you feel the most competent and confident in, whether you learned it as a small child or as a college student. It's crucial to be able to express yourself easily and clearly with your child. The language that allows you to do this is the best language to speak with them in. So, what did Laura and David ultimately decide about language use in their home? To quote the article, Laura and David speak Spanish with each other. Laura speaks mainly Italian with the child, but speaks also Spanish when they are all together as a family, while David speaks Portuguese with him, the child, and Spanish like Laura. Now, no one is saying that this is the right solution for every family with a linguistic situation like Laura and David's. Frankly, keeping up with 4 languages at home is a lot of work, but it was the best decision for Laura and David based on their own language preferences and their son's current and future needs. In a different family with the same languages, the solution might have looked very different. So, if you have a situation like Laura and David's, how can you decide which languages to use in your household? The article provides some questions you can ask yourself, including 1. What language comes naturally to you when speaking spontaneously with your child? For me, for example, we have chosen Spanish and French. Neither of them are my native languages. French is actually my least native language, but I am only speaking French with my daughter. Why? Because we go to France every year, and I want her to feel good about that experience there and understand everyone. Which brings me to question 2. What language or languages would your children need to speak with extended family members or friends in France? 3. Will there be any changes in the languages your child needs over the next 5 years? For example, will you be moving from the US to your partner's home country of Portugal? Be sure to check out the full article for additional questions to consider and to find out the twists of the language journey of Laura and David's family. So, let me hear from you, multilingual families. How did you decide which languages to use in your home? And if Spanish is one of your family languages, I'd like to invite you to check out our online classes at True Fluency Kids. Practicing Spanish with us is a great way to supplement your kids' Spanish use at home. We believe in being fun, flexible, and affordable. You can find us at truefluencykids.com. Here's to fluency.